Taste, touch, smell, sight, and hearing are the five physical senses we use to perceive everything around us. From the moment we are born, we rely on these senses to give us information about what we call the real world. Fortunately, humankind has devised many ways to enhance the basic senses so that we can now get a much more accurate perception of reality. We have microscopes like the one at Lawrence Berkeley National Labs in California that are so powerful they can see down to, now get this, 0.1 nanometers. Not 1 nanometer, mind you, but 0.1 or 1/10 of a nanometer. To put that into perspective, a human hair is about 75,000 nanometers in width. Science has confirmed that what feels like a solid, unmoving tabletop to your hand is actually 99.9999% empty space. What little there is of that tabletop is nothing more than an infinitesimally small bundle of energy moving at near the speed of light. With our fancy new technology, we have finally corroborated what Einstein said when he told us that matter equals energy. Going to the other end of the size spectrum, we have the Hubble telescope, which can see deep into our universe, up to 15 billion light years away. Obviously, our modern tools can far outperform the basic five senses we were born with. The interesting thing is that our ability to perceive the world around us in a far more accurate way also proves something that spiritual teachers have been saying for thousands of years. They tell us that our wonderful human senses have been lying to us. Naturally, these spiritual teachings don't really sink in for most of us because our basic five senses are a little like a childhood friend that we have trusted for our entire lives. At this point, it is extremely difficult to believe that reality is anything more than what our bodies have reported to us since birth. Despite what our brains tell us, we still believe that that tabletop is very real. It doesn't matter that our brains know that it isn't even really a material object at all, but rather it is an energy matrix that is nearly 100% thin air. If it feels real to the touch, then it is real as far as most people are concerned. Nevertheless, the more we learn, the more we must gradually adjust our concept of what is real and true. Otherwise, we will go on believing in a fantasy world constructed by sensory organs that cannot be relied upon to accurately report what is real and what isn't. Let's shift gears and consider a related but different perspective. What if I told you that the world that you perceive as being outside of you is actually not outside of you at all? What if I told you that the closest thing I could compare your world to is a dream like the ones you experience sleeping in your bed at night? While dreaming, it all seems so real, does it not? You can feel happy, sad, good, bad, afraid, even terrified. Then, occasionally, the dream becomes so bizarre that you realize it couldn't possibly be real, and so it suddenly dawns on you that you are dreaming. Have you ever become aware that you are dreaming, but instead of waking up, you were able to consciously control the dream while still asleep? They call that having a lucid dream. You're still asleep and dreaming, but you become aware that the entire environment around you, along with everyone in it, is all happening inside your own consciousness. In effect, you are playing all the parts and subconsciously directing all the action. Now, what if I told you that you could become aware that your entire real-world environment is very similar to a dream? And what if I then told you that if you become conscious and aware of this fact, you could manipulate and direct the elements of your world as if it were a lucid dream? This may sound like science fiction, or even a little insane, but this isn't a new concept that I'm presenting to you. In fact, you almost certainly have heard this stuff before in various forms. Shakespeare wrote, "Life is but a dream within a dream." Edgar Allan Poe wrote, All that we see or seem is but a dream within a dream. Albert Einstein said, reality is merely an illusion, albeit a very persistent one. The Buddha said, a wise man, recognizing that life is but an illusion, does not act as if it is real. You may accept this notion of life as an illusion or reject it. That is your privilege and your right. But the larger question is, are you ready for a true and meaningful change in your life? Now, you could move forward with your old belief system firmly in place, but ask yourself, where have my beliefs gotten me so far? Please do not misunderstand me. I'm not saying everyone who hears this program is having a bad life. To the contrary, I'm quite sure that some of you are having a wonderful life and are truly blessed. Other listeners may also be quite happy, except for a few specific things they would like to change. It is also quite possible that at the other end of the spectrum, some of you may find yourselves in dire circumstances and are at a total loss as to what to do about it. You may actually have slipped into despair or even depression. At this point, let me remind you that at the core of this I Am series of videos, there is a simple truth. That truth is, you are the I Am, or the I Am that I am, of your world, of your consciousness. And as such, you are fully empowered to create a far happier life than you may have thought of possible before. To do that, you must become consciously aware that the circumstances you find yourself in are not outside of you, and they are not beyond your control. In order for that to happen, there must be an awakening from the dream that you call reality. Although we may not all be fully aware of it, yet the good news is that you are both the dreamer and the dream master, just like you are when you are asleep. Of course, your new life, or new reality if you prefer to call it that, will still be just a dream or an illusion, but it will be the dream of your choice. As I mentioned in episode 1 of this series, you don't need to take my word for any of this. In fact, I much rather prefer that you try out what you learn here and prove it to yourself. When you experience things for yourself, you will know that what I'm telling you is completely true and accurate. Then you will know for sure that the same laws that work for me also work for you. The balance of the videos in this series will focus on the practical how-tos of reformatting your life circumstances without struggle or strain. We will also get much deeper into the true meaning of I am that I am, which is the foundation of all change in your world. Tune in for next week's episode 4 of this series. Better yet, why not subscribe to my channel and be sure you don't miss a thing. Until next time, this is Q, wishing you wealth, health, and happiness.